What's up, YouTube? Welcome to part 3 of God of War Ragnarök with a therapist. We have a new audio setup from henceforth, so I hope that you will enjoy some increased audio quality. I appreciate that you have made it to part 3. Thank you for all the support on parts 1 and 2. It's been mind-blowing to see how many people have been watching those videos. So thank you for your comments. Thank you for your engagement overall. Thanks for liking the stream. Make sure that you do it for this one too. If you ever want to hang out with us live, you'll see, I mean, it's daytime right now. I'm usually live at 9:30 p.m. Pacific time. Occasionally I go live during the day. We would love to have you come hang out and chat. Make sure you follow all the links down in the description too. Check out my other playthroughs on YouTube if you're waiting for the next episode of this. And yeah, just thank you for all the kindness and love for what I do. I will remind everybody as we go into this that I am not claiming to be right on my analysis. I'm just offering my perspective as a therapist. So I assume that's what you're here for, the analysis. There's plenty of people that have played through this game. I hope my analysis is what has helped you stick around and feel like you can engage in a deeper sense with the game. It's been a lot of fun for me, so. All right, let's rock and roll. Let's see what else we got in store for us here today. In this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful area. I do want to make sure, chat, help me out in terms of like the audio levels. If something's too loud or it feels unbalanced, please let me know. It is ridiculous that our axe was on par with Thor's hammer. Yes, Mjolnir. Stopped by our axe.
I think we need to get that wheel moving. The water doesn't reach. Those things are everywhere.
They sure are. Let's see, is there something I maybe need to hit with my axe, or do I maybe just chuck it? Interesting.
Okay, we froze one of those geysers. Is there another one somewhere?
I don't know, Atreus. There probably is, and I'm just not seeing it. Because I'm blind. Oh, it's up there. But how do I get up there to be able to see it? Do I have to toss my axe from all the way up there?
Hey, did that geyser up there just get stronger?
Yes, it did.
When you froze the geyser, the pressure must have changed for the ones around it.
No backseating, Atreus. Jeez. Look at that.
Yeah, wheels moving and the gate's coming down.
That's dwarven ingenuity for you.
Back to the boat.
Back to the boat.
dwarves of this realm are anything like Rock and Sindri, it's hard to imagine them siding with Odin.
Well, all too often people are blinded to all but their immediate self-interest. Odin offered them safety, and defying him can be quite dangerous.
Maybe they just need a couple of gods to come along and take the fight to him.
Atreus, that is not why we are here.
I was only joking.
War is not a joke, especially where gods are concerned.
Mimir is correct. That is one of the ways that abusive people stay in power, is they make themselves necessary.
Do you really think Odin would honor his end of the deal? That if we keep our distance, he'll leave us alone?
No. That does not mean I intend to fight him. Perhaps we find a new home, where neither he nor Freya can trouble us.
But once we find Tyr, he can help us fight.
Fight?
That's, not what I meant. Obviously, we have so much to learn from Tyr. Any way he can help us is good, right? Let's just keep moving. I'm glad we're out here, exploring a new realm. Maybe we could just try to enjoy the warmth?
Yeah, I mean, Atreus, it's really interesting that he is, again, the writing in this game is fantastic. Because Atreus is very much presenting the way that a teenager would. He's obviously thinks that they need to fight Odin. And he is letting his guard down in conversation because he just hasn't really built up the skill of concealing your actual intentions on something. I think in part because Kratos scared him. When Kratos found out that Atreus was searching for Tyr and made it very clear that he was pissed off about that and didn't trust him, I'm sure that scrambled some childlike part of Atreus where he's like, oh God, I can't lie to my dad. I can't withhold stuff anymore. And so now we're seeing him like leak out that he wants to fight Odin. I think because he's got this like push-pull going on where he's like, I want to withhold this idea from my dad potentially, but I got to tell my dad. And he looks at his father's strength and his power, and I think Atreus thinks that's how you help people. Kratos has helped him with his power. He has fought people. That's all Atreus has seen. He's not seen diplomacy. Diplomacy doesn't really have a place here. So this idea that he's going to go take a fight to Odin, he just needs the right people around him, it makes sense based on what's been represented to him as well. So there's a lot of layers to this, but it's very clear that that's where his head's at. And he just developmentally isn't in a space where he can lock down the front, which is in some ways kind of cool because it means that we actually can see his intentions. It's what makes adults scary sometimes, is they get better at concealing their intentions. But it also tells us a lot about what's been represented to him in terms of like how you take control and how you gain a sense of agency in the world that you live in. And he's still naive because he's a kid. I don't mean naive in a terrible way. He's a kid, and he doesn't think through everything quite as fully as Kratos. Kratos has been around for a long time to know how bad things can get. Let's go through this little area here, because I'm guessing that's not where you're supposed to go, and you got to go all the places you're not supposed to go first. Duck, Atreus. Ultimate, thank you very much for the sub. I appreciate that. Vapid, same to you. Thank you very much.
Yikes. This place is wrecked. And yes, I am staying alert. There are probably tons of those Grim around.
Good, so you have learned. Let's go.
Behind you!
Cursed Grim. Weak little blighters, but they're more than make up for it with poisonous projectile saliva. They're wicked fast to boot. Keeping them in view is imperative in an encounter, otherwise they'll disappear from eyesight quicker than you can say grim and lob snot at you from every possible angle. Unpleasant at best, deadly at worst. Doesn't really sound like it, like Kratos. Game is quiet? Okay. I shall boost it. Consider it boosted, friends. Oh, Mimir writes those? Oh, okay. Yeah, I say it doesn't sound like Kratos.
Right side, brother!
All right, let's find these things. Okay, so that one needs to be N. Or it needs to be the other end. Oh, you really got to do it with the axe, huh? Oh, alright, so I guess it is... Gotta be that one, then. Yeah, okay. Cool. Done. You plan on doing the extra side quests or just the main story? I'll do as many as I feel like. I'll do as many as I can.
Lisa!
Thank you for the raid, madame. Alright, that one's done. Ooh, what is this?
Good thing you learned the runes, brother.
Unsafe roads. Careful, traveler. This road leads to Nidavellir, sure, but so too does it lead to dangers beyond mention. If you give a damn about your own safety, you will find an alternate route to the City of Iron. Should you succeed, find me, so I can spread the word of whichever route you took that didn't end with you getting your skin peeled off your body by something hungry and pissed off. Durlin. Dragon Reader, thank you for the sub. I appreciate it. What have we here? Maximum rage increase. Collected enough horns of blood mead. Maximum rage increased. Hell yeah. Look at that.
I think that's everything here. Want to get going?
Yeah, I do. I do like that. I do like when games do that, where they give you a little prompt of like, you're good. You did everything. Except get that hack silver. Atreus, how you about to tell me that this is done when I didn't get the bag? Oh, dude. I can't just leave. I can't just leave money on the shore. There we go. Oh, 17 beast scraps, even better. There we go. Doo-doo-doo. Maybe Atreus dropped the hack silver and was afraid to say anything. Alrighty. Yet another gate that we gotta cross. So we shall do that. Ooh, what's this guy? What's this thing?
It's too fast.
Then how shall we catch it?
Flank it. Attack from behind.
Good.
Ooh, scaffolding. Love it. I love it. Catch it from behind. Is it going to come out of that? Interesting. All right, we're gonna go up here then. Dick.
You did it. Let's see what it dropped.
An Ormer, a mysterious creature. Mimir tells me it was born from an ember that escaped Suitor's hammer as he worked his forge. The steward of Muspelheim used his bellows to breathe life into the ember, and its first act of existence was to steal and consume the precious metals the smith had been using to forge a weapon. Mimir tried to tell me Suitor found this amusing. Were I Suitor, I would not be amused. Ah, yes. Okay. Rawhide, slag deposits, and some rage. Neat.
Father, up there.
Look at this guy.
Up high! Knock him down!
Behind you! Poison!
Come here, get over here. Oh, yeah. Love that. Love that.
Think you can uncover that geyser from here?
Yeah, I'd say I probably could. Alright, and then we go and we freeze this guy. Move that wheel.
Oh, I think I get it. If you freeze the geyser, the pressure will turn the wheel.
Yes, Atreus. Very good. And then your dad'll get stuck. Wham!
Nice one.
And then
Block's coming down.
we jump up here,
Can you see anything from that block?
and then we do this. We get pushed up. Hell yeah.
That's one of Kvasir's poems. Very highbrow. You should collect any others you find.
A story of a relentless genius from the mind of Kvasir. Imagine, dear reader, if you so dare, creatures of metal that screech through the air, that swim through the seas, that bound across the land, but are brought to their knees by a warrior's hand. Her origins hidden, her hair red as blood, finding places forbidden buried under the mud. But who is this young girl, who is more than she seemeth, who will rescue her people and slay these behemoths? Yeah. So I think something that I'm gonna do for the as like a way to make zoom out for this actually. Something I'm gonna do to try to make Atreus's back seating more palatable for myself and also for all who are watching this. Because if it drives you crazy that Atreus keeps offering up what to do, I think the best way for us to make sense of that is to take our meta recognition of being the gamer out of this. Like, is it kind of annoying because you want to figure stuff out because you're playing a game and you want to engage your brain? Yes. But what I generally like to do in these playthroughs is take the story as if it's like the reality of what's happening. So the way that I recommend that all of us frame Atreus's back seating for any of the future stuff that happens in the game is through a developmental lens, both relationally with Kratos and individually just with his own brain development. One of the cool things that is happening is that Atreus is beginning to see the world in abstract terms rather than just concretely. And that means that he's able to use deductive reasoning, which is essentially where you use the knowledge that you've gathered from various experiences and concepts and education and all that stuff. You take that information, and when you are presented with a new problem or a new stimulus, you use that information to try to deduce what it is that's happening in front of you in order to solve that problem. Children tend to use inductive reasoning, which is that they use their own perception and they try to apply that to everything rather than trying to pull abstract concepts. As you move into your teenage years, you become increasingly more adept at using these abstract concepts and deductive reasoning, and you have to fight your way through it. And one of the ways that teenagers will do that is to try to solve problems and in some ways appear as a know-it-all because they haven't really introduced any nuance to that process. That's why a lot of teenagers will be really confident in thinking that they know exactly what they're talking about, and they will try to jump in and solve problems even if other people don't necessarily want them to do that because they're exercising their prefrontal cortex and they're building those connections and their ability to work through things abstractly. So Atreus being more involved in solving the puzzles in this game makes a ton of sense from a developmental perspective because Kratos was the one solving everything when we were playing, like in 2018, when Atreus is a child. And now Atreus is learning how to navigate the world and solve problems himself. And Kratos wants that. Kratos constantly asks Atreus questions about the world because he wants Atreus to think about the world and solving its problems in the same way that he does. So Atreus's over-involvement in telling us how to do things makes complete sense, and I would argue probably makes Kratos proud because it shows that he is thinking through the world around him, that instead of walking up to a puzzle and then looking at his dad and saying, Solve it for me, Dad. I don't want to do the work. Atreus walks up to a thing and he goes, I want to figure this out. I want to put my perspective on the table. I want to make sure that I show that I have something to offer here. So even though we as gamers might get annoyed by that, it makes perfect sense as it relates to the development of Atreus as a teenager and his relationship to his father, who wants him to be more autonomous in the world and thinking through what he sees rather than relying on everybody else around him. So I think that's the perspective we need to take on Atreus going forward in terms of the backseating, is to engage with Kratos' perspective, which would be to be proud of him for thinking through the world. So slip out of the gamer mindset for a while we're playing this and just take it in as a story that we're absorbed in and bearing witness to. And I think that's going to change the level of annoyance that I and others might have for the fact that Atreus is backseating. Is the problem solving something that carries into adulthood? Sounds like stereotypical guy who tries to solve your problem instead of just listening. Well, that's the nuance. So as we get older and as we start to bring in relational dynamics and expectations, you start to realize that problem solving can be a collaborative endeavor. Kratos is doing a really good job letting go of the idea that he needs to solve everything in lieu of his son learning how to do it. That's good. That's nuance. That's healthy. If Kratos continued to try to strong-arm Atreus and told him to shut the hell up every time he tried to contribute, that would stymie Atreus' development, because Atreus would stop acting and he would become more reliant on his father. So Kratos is actually facilitating Atreus' autonomy and allowing him to backseat, as opposed to shutting him down so that we, the gamer, can figure it out. That's the headcanon I got to go with here on this in order to make that more palatable. And I hope you will too. Right? Like, we can appreciate that Atreus is thinking his way through the world.
Lad, if I may, what exactly are you hoping to learn from Tyr?
Well, like I said, I was hoping he could tell me something about Loki. I'd also like to hear some of his stories. Traveling to other lands, giant stuff, and maybe about what it was like to fight back in the day. Just for the history, obviously.
History?
Let's hope Tyr's in a talkative mood after being imprisoned for so long. Not all of Odin's captives can be as charmingly voluble as myself.
We have no proof Tyr is truly here.
Right.
I wonder, I have no way of knowing whether this is true, but I really wonder if part of the reason that Kratos is worried about Atreus learning more about the past is that it means that Atreus is going to learn some of the unsavory things that Kratos has had in his own history. For example, Kratos was manipulated into killing what would be Atreus' sibling back in the day. And I don't know that Atreus knows that. I don't know that Atreus really knows and fully understands the extent of all of the hardship and shit that Kratos went through as a young lad and over the many, many, many years that he's been around. And if Kratos' primary concern is to continue facilitating a meaningful relationship with his son, which I think we can reasonably say is the case given the way that he presents, there is probably some way down there shame that is potentially bubbling its way up at the idea that Atreus wants to explore his past and wants to know where he comes from. Because if the more he knows about history, the more he knows that Kratos has done some not so great stuff. And Kratos may be worried that Atreus is going to judge him for that and put distance between himself and his father as a result of that. Now, most of that is projection, because that's Kratos assuming that Atreus is going to look at his past the same way that he does. He could be right, he could be wrong, but it would be understandable that that's something that makes Kratos a bit nervous, because he doesn't know what his son's going to learn about him and would probably like to have control over what he tells his son and what he doesn't. Because Kratos has done some shit. All right, let's rock and roll, buddy. Also, I love that the boat is symmetrical so that you don't waste time getting into it. Had to get one in, eh, Victoria? Good to see you. Oh, that's cool. Oh, neat. I didn't realize that that was an actual resource that we could pick up.
That earthquake earlier. Do you think there will be another one?
It's unlikely, but geological disturbances tend to be unpredictable.
If the geysers and smell here are worse because of Fimbulwinter, maybe the earthquakes are too?
Aye, you might be onto something, lad.
That is deductive reasoning. Right there. In its most simple and purely wonderful form. And I really want to take a second to appreciate that and discuss it. Again, deductive reasoning is the ability to take abstract concepts, knowledge, experiences, and use those experiences to try to understand and predict novel stimuli. So when Atreus learns that Fimbulwinter is affecting the smell and the geysers and all that stuff, and that it's amplified that. And then he goes, wait a second, there was an earthquake here that was pretty violent. He makes the abstract connection using all of that information to say, oh my goodness, I wonder if the earthquakes are more violent because of Fimbulwinter. That's deductive reasoning. Very, very cool that he is starting, and that's the nuanced appreciation of the world that he lives in, that as a father, Kratos is going to want to facilitate. In this case, Mimir did. Mimir said, hey, I think you're onto something, lad. That's good. When you start to see that kind of thought process in teenagers, you really want to give credit for that. You really want to facilitate that, because that's the way that adults, through language, navigate a very complex world, is through deductive reasoning. And it's a perfect example right there. Absolutely love it. And it's done so beautifully. It's done in passing. If you're the type of person that listens to Atreus say that, and your reaction is, duh, Jesus, dude, it's not that hard, you are missing the point. You are absolutely missing the point. You are applying adult sensibilities to a teenager, and you shouldn't do that. These camps are super interesting. Like, how do these people, like, do the dwarves just like swim around, or?
Atreus, look ahead.
Wow. Now this looks like a city.
Welcome to Nidavellir, brothers.
Dude, it's so cool. Gosh, look at the art design. Oh, God, it's so good. These people are likely to, like, freak out.
Hey, dwarves! Oh. They're, running away.
Understand it? Yeah, why? Now, again, if you want to facilitate his thoughts, you want to get into some abstract thinking, you might ask Atreus, why do you think that might be? Like, every opportunity here is an opportunity to engage Atreus in critical thought. Formal operational thought, if you want to think about developmental psychology. But, like, really, see, like, get him to wonder about that. Don't just draw some random conclusion. Think through it. Why do you think dwarves might be running away right now while we bring our boat in here?
An alarm.
Don't
wouldn't sound an alarm like that if I still had my body and was fearing the notion of being detached from it.
Why all that for us, though?
They are scared.
There we go. As well, they probably should be. It would make sense. Wow, this place is gorgeous. Holy crap.
Most definitely an alarm, I'm afraid.
Why is everybody hiding?
Stay alert.
Oh, the music. Don't mind if I dock here. Nidavellir.
Hey, could we talk to you for...
Atreus.
There'll be no help, to be sure. Best we find the tavern Sindri mentioned on our own, and hope they let us in.
So something that Atreus has not had the experience of really yet is the intimidation he brings to others in the world. In part because he has lived his entire life relative to his father. Kratos is a ridiculously imposing person. Kratos shows up and people are like, oh my god. And Atreus has just been a little kid that's by his side. He has not been particularly physically imposing. He doesn't really invite adult fear because they can look at him and be like, oh, he's just a kid. But he's getting bigger now. And his presence with Kratos is no longer, oh, that's a cute little kid that Kratos is protecting. Now he is becoming scary. He's getting bigger. It's like a dog who turns into a big dog and still thinks it's the size of a puppy. Humans go through the same thing. And for some teenagers, that can be pretty jarring. So Atreus running to that door and saying, hey, let's talk, is a remnant of his experience of being a child that generally wasn't imposing. And so Kratos is going to want to help teach him here, hey, dude, as you get older and you get larger and you roll around with me knowing who you are, people are going to generally be intimidated by you. You know that you have a delicate heart and that you are warm and that you mean well. But people are not going to assume that of you in this world. You have to be mindful of the way that you are represented to the general populace so that you can be mindful of how you engage with people. Running after somebody as they go into their house is going to scare the shit out of them. It's not going to magically make them go, oh, he's just curious about what's going on. He's safe. And that's going to be something Kratos has lived years now with that being the case. And it's something he's going to need to help his son understand. Because we don't generally have an awareness of the way that we show up to others. We assume people see us the way that we do, and that's not the case. And as we get older, that changes. So people are going to be afraid of him. And that's probably going to be distressing for him. Because Atreus wants to connect with people. He wants to engage with people. He's not as like grumbly and stoic as Kratos is. And so I think he's going to find that that's going to be a real struggle for him as he gets older, of people generally not giving him the benefit of the doubt and being afraid of him. And the dwarves have every reason to be afraid.
Buildings here really are incredible.
The detail in the woodwork is quite extraordinary.
Way to give yourself a pat on the back, game devs. As well you should. Alright, let's figure out how to get over here. Man, they make some strong barrels here. Alright, let's see. Oh. Oh, look at that. Even the rainbow. Look at, jeez. That's excellent. I haven't, like, seen anything like this. Thank you for your attempt to help me, Atreus. Maybe I can't go there yet. They're just putting it there for... Just jump over it. Yeah, I'm guessing that's something I can't go past yet.
Is that a statue of Odin? They must really love him here.
Or fear him.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So, in the same way we had an example of deductive reasoning, that's an example of inductive reasoning. And it's beautiful. So, Atreus has really probably only ever seen statues be something that are related to being idealized, right? They adore him. You only make statues of people if you think they're badass. That's probably his only experience with it. So he sees a statue of Odin, somebody that he has not had pleasant experiences with, and his immediate assumption is that the dwarves admire him. That's inductive reasoning. That's using your lack of experience or your own perception and assuming that that's the case generalized across contexts. So then when Kratos says, or they fear him, that's an introduction of dissonance that would facilitate a degree of deductive reasoning from Atreus. Because Atreus needs to learn that people don't always erect statues because they admire people. Sometimes they're forced to do it as a sign that you ought to know who your leader is and not to mess with him. That happens all the time. Kratos probably had that experience growing up in Sparta. So it's just another really cool nugget of what is the difference between deductive and inductive reasoning. There you go. That's inductive right there. It's okay to use some degree of inductive reasoning, but generally, you want to get to deductive as best you can. The way that Kratos would potentially facilitate deductive reasoning for Atreus here would be via education. So Kratos could say, hey, guess so, interesting note here. Sometimes people erect statues to exert power over their constituents and to instill fear in them. Did you notice that everybody here, you did notice it when we wrote in here, all the dwarves ran to their homes. The dwarves are living in fear right now. If Odin was a great protector that made them feel safe, they might not have run away to their homes when we boated up here. So just because you see a statue doesn't necessarily mean that people adore somebody. It can sometimes be out of fear. And he might even share back in my day in Sparta. Here's an example. That's where education contributes to deductive reasoning. Rather than going, oh, silly Atreus, you can actually facilitate some cool learning there. All right, some axe silver. Just going in and robbing all these people.
Sindri, hello. I'd return your surprise, but I did know you'd be here. I've got something for you.
New lore school. Shopping list. Don't want to hear any more about shortages. Aesir got exactly what we need. My work shouldn't have to suffer just because they got stuff. Get off on being withholding. Anyway, I need a barrel of oil, as many bundles of firewood as can be spared, 5 ingots of pure Svartalfheim steel. Oh yeah, goddamn food to goddamn eat. That kind of sounds like Brock.
Take your time.
I will take my time, Sindri. I got shit to look at, bud.
Whenever you're ready.
I'm ready.
What is it, dwarf?
You know, I'm glad I came back here at least once before Ragnarok. these cobblestones could talk. Then they'd have mouths. Filthy, disgusting mouths. Do you mind if I fiddle with your bow?
Now, I laughed here, but this is maybe one of the better subtle representations of how something like OCD works. Now, obviously, I can't diagnose Sindri with OCD because he's not a client and because he's not a real person or whatnot. But Sindri does exhibit certain symptomology of a person who potentially has OCD. And for those who haven't watched my OCD lecture on YouTube, which I certainly encourage you to do, OCD is not a quirky, fun thing to have, where you just like things to be clean all the time. Sindri's comment there about how if the cobblestones could talk, then they'd have mouths, is a really subtle example of the intrusiveness of OCD, of obsessions, where he has this moment of reflection. He's like, man, I'm really glad I got to get back here one more time before Ragnarok. And then all of a sudden he has the intrusive thought of, oh my goodness, if the cobblestones had mouths, that would be disgusting and horrible, and I'd have to clean that up. And he's taken completely out of the moment. So he has an opportunity to reflect on a lot of meaningful stuff that happened in his life, and it's hijacked by an obsessive thought about how dirty the mouths would be on the cobblestones. Is it kind of a funny example? Yeah, but that's really an analogy for how OCD works. It hijacks the moment for people. It makes it incredibly difficult sometimes to engage with the world around you because you are just constantly battling intrusive thoughts and the compulsive behaviors that follow it. And so we see Sindri get just yanked out of a moment of meaningful reflection because of that. And now he's learned to cope with it and manage it, and he turns towards Kratos, and he's going to say whatever he's going to say here to him and Atreus. But that's just a real subtle example of the ways that OCD can control people's lives. It's really awful, and you shouldn't wish it upon yourself or anybody.
Oh, you are long overdue for a replacement. Taking advantage of certain material. Ow. Structural sensitivity to sonic vibrations has been something I've been meaning to try for quite some time now.
Thanks for finally trying it. What's it gonna be this time?
Patience. I find it's best to see these things in action. Whew. There. Oh, take aim at that gate there. But before you loose, say, Skialfa. Skialfa.
Ah!
Well, I certainly didn't expect you to disturb half the creepy crawlies in Nidavellir.
How was I supposed to know they were there?
Oh no, I didn't want to do that. Oh god. What a waste. Oh, that's right, you can stop it.
Okay, so, Durlin.
Well, first you're gonna go shoot this gate over here.
Any idea where the tavern is?
Do I look like I've ever been to a filthy tavern? The sewer you just punched a hole through seems promising, though. For you. It should lead to the other side of the city. It's not like you're able to open other doors around here.
Good point. Thank you. What do we say, Atreus? Another poem?
Another of Cavassier's poems.
Being a fictional poem by Kvasir, master of all poets, the armies assembled, non-warriors strong, well rested and fed, for the war would be long. The orb in the air and branches in hand, a swing, a collision, the spectators stand. For 9 nights and 9 days they fight without rest, running, then waiting to prove themselves best, until finally, mercifully, the army does rout. One army triumphant, the other struck out. Rico, thank you very much for the sub. Slag deposits and some hack silver. We got ourselves a poem. I'm here for it. What you looking at, man?
So this lockdown really is because of us?
Oh my, yes. Odin's grip on this realm is so firm, any outsider is considered a threat.
Sounds like an Odinism if I ever heard one.
There you go.
Yeah.
At your service.
Kratos can now purchase resurrection stones from the special items tab. These one-use stones can revive Kratos from death as long as he is not alone. Oh, yeah. Okay. A magical stone that revives one from death. Small amount of health. Oh, I can make one for free. That's cool. All right. And they're 1,500 from then on.
Till we meet again.
Is that all you make for me right now, Sindri? No, okay. Yeah. I need a chaos flame to upgrade those.
Nothing appeals to you?
God damn it. No, I want to... No, I just can't
What can I
navigate
make
the
for
interface very well, that's all. I want to... It's a huge upgrade. Oh, why not?
Huh. That might be my best piece yet today.
Very good.
All right. Let's go.
Best of luck.
Any outsider is considered a threat. Is that to protect the dwarves?
It sounds like it. But knowing Odin, there's sure to be an ulterior motive.
Well, everyone's hiding on this side too.
Odin's occupation of this realm has its hooks in deep.
But there aren't any guards patrolling. We're clearly not a threat. Why hide?
Resist and you're made an example of, to keep the rest in line. Self-preservation can outweigh bravery for even the strongest of folk.
Fear keeps them safe and alive.
Yeah, you talking from experience, Kratos?
Tavern's gotta be around here somewhere.
Kind of like when you're staying in your house and not leaving to protect your son. Kratos knows what he's talking about. He gets it. Also, I mean, again, Atreus saying we're clearly not a threat is misguided. It's missing the point. It shows us that he does not yet have a full awareness of the way that he presents himself. We showed up in a boat with a bunch of weapons. I'm painted in war paint. And we're breaking shit from the very get-go. Yeah, we're scary. And Odin probably said, hey, by the way, if you see a dude in white paint with red stripes on him, and he's huge and jacked and has a kid with him, you best get your ass in the house. Odin's going to want us to have a miserable time everywhere we go.
Maybe we can try knocking on some doors for directions.
No, Atreus, no. I love this. This is so naive.
Maybe...
No! Thank you.
It's naive in a developmentally appropriate way. But this, again, Kratos, where are you, bud? Like, help him out. Help him understand this. You know exactly what it's like to move through the world where people are terrified of you. This is like a beautiful opportunity for Kratos to help his son understand what's happening here. Now, there could be some degree of, well, I'm going to let him figure it out. I'm going to let him see. But I think Atreus consistently knocking on doors and interacting the way that he has to this point shows that he really just doesn't possess the knowledge. He needs help. Scaffolding is where a teacher gets involved just enough that they can eventually pull themselves back and the learner is able to do things on their own. Atreus needs a bump in the form of knowledge here, and it is knowledge that Kratos possesses and can provide for him. I want to explore every square inch of this place.
I see something. Sorry to bother
If
you.
you're selling something, please bugger off. If you're not selling something, please kindly bugger off.
Why do you think Kratos doesn't? Hard to know. I would have to ask him. I'm guessing because he wants Atreus to figure it out himself, but I don't know. It's a hard one. He may just not know to do it. I mean, I don't expect... Kratos doesn't have a PhD in human development. I don't expect him to do everything that I think he should do. I mean, there's that too, right? Like, Kratos is a god of war. He is not a esoteric... that's not the right word. He's not an erudite, you get all the knowledge you possibly can, go to school kind of guy. Oh.
Right side! Father!
Grim. The Grim occupy the voluminous middle berth in the life cycle of Svartalfheim's hostile gas monsters. The teenagers of the species, for lack of a better word. Violent, gassy teenagers. Among the most mobile denizens of the Nine Realms, the Grim can climb almost any surface and burrow into the ground at disconcerting speeds, making them all too easy to lose sight of. Fortunately, they haven't developed the ability to fly yet. Their diving attack has enough force to break your guard. Interrupt it with something well-timed and strong, like a thrown weapon attack. Use your axe. Would Kratos even have a concept of what therapy is? Probably not. I don't know why he would. I read recently about developmental theory of the mind of children. Do you think something like that is happening with Atreus here? He knows he's not a threat, but he doesn't realize other people know this. Yeah, that's inductive reasoning. That's also just sort of a lack of awareness of the way that you hold space in the context you're in. I mean, I don't even know that you need much theory behind that. That's literally just psychosocial development. He's not engaging in a degree of perspective taking relative to the way that he presents himself in the world. He still thinks that he's an unimposing teenager that means well. It's going to take a lot of lived experience for him to start getting into a space where he understands the way that his social status is bringing itself to a new environment. You were Kratos' therapist. What things would you find most interesting to talk about with him?
Right? That's like a house.
That's not up to me. I know this is kind of an annoying answer, but whenever people ask this question, this is always the answer I give. It's not my responsibility to determine what Kratos would talk about in therapy. It's Kratos' responsibility to determine what he would talk about in therapy. It's not even about what I think is interesting. I, as a therapist, am present for people to be what they need me to be. Therapy is not me saying to clients, all right, dance, monkeys, be interesting for me. Talk about things that are this and that. Are there things that people talk about that are maybe more engaging than other things? Sure. But Kratos is who decides what comes to therapy and what's interesting in therapy, not me.
If he's here, maybe you should let me do the talking.
You.
Well, we don't want to intimidate him. You're tall as a tree and you have a severed head on your head.
None taken. Fair point, though.
Very well.
Kratos gets it. It's awesome. I love it. I love that Kratos is like, ah, yeah, you're right. It's so great. Ah, yeah. You make a good point, son. Think about it. Like, Kratos has spent so much time being the guy that does everything. And he is accepting influence from his kid. That it's beautiful. He's giving Atreus opportunities to actually have a level of engagement in the world and make decisions. And I admire that so much. And also, Atreus, I'm going to need you to come over here and shoot this for me, please. Oh, never mind.
A firebomb from the chief anti-Odin propagandist in Durlin's rebellion. Quite a sharp wit she had until she turned to less subtle means of resistance.
Greep's firebomb. I have many regrets concerning the time I spent in Svartalfheim, but of those regrets I may think of Greep the most. Greep was a fantastically angry dwarven scribe. Her furious treatises? Her furious treatises against Odin's financial imperialism might well have spurred the dwarves to outright rebellion had she continued to distribute them. As a wielder of worlds, she was at least my equal, if not my superior, and her passion and fury commanded the respect of anyone who read her writings. When she took firebomb in hand and burned Aesir camps to ash, others followed her. Unfortunately, the downside of having a clear and loud voice is that you're very, very easy to find. The Einherjar could handle propaganda, arson less so. They found her, and she and all known copies of her writings disappeared. I'd always wished to meet her. I still think of her often. I like to think we'd be friends if she knew me as I am now. Look at that. That I was prepared. Oh, there's a guy. Okay. Like fully prepared to kick ass there, and it's just a chest. By the way, if you're watching this on YouTube or if you're here live with me on Twitch, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this playthrough and hang out with me. I appreciate it immensely. I hope you're enjoying it as much as I'm enjoying playing it for you. Y'all are fabulous. And again, if you are watching this on YouTube, definitely encourage you to stop by the Twitch stream sometime. We'd love to have you here. But thank you for all of your support, both in presence and those of you that financially support the stream. Thank you very much. Oh, interesting. We're like back at the very beginning. How about that? I point this out probably every stream, but the amount of detail in this game is unreal. This is just some like random ass tunnel coming from this area that they could have just made a, you know, a random mine shaft. But look at all the detail that they put in. Like all the different assets that had to be created in order to make this happen. Like it's absolutely incredible how like you walk through here and there's just so like this pan hanging here and this bottle. It just adds so much. It's oh man. Truly incredible stuff. And so many gamers just walk right past it. All right, let's go to the bar. Atreus, I don't even know if you're old enough to go in here, bud.
I think that's him.
Hurdy-gurdies are so badass. Dude's just chilling in here. Hurdy-gurdying it out, man. It's so good.
Hello?
Watch yourselves. Apparently, there are intruders about.
Oh, that's
blind?
us, I think.
Well, if you're planning on killing me, at least let me finish this song. That alarm was in just the perfect key.
We're just looking for a friend of ours named Durlin.
Well, we both know that's not true. Durlin's got no friends left. But if that's all you need, head out the back way there, and you'll see the safety office just across the river. Just don't go making trouble for the rest of us. And while you travel through this realm, maybe you could clean up the head's mess?
What mess?
Later, brother.
Oh, yeah? Ribe? The dwarven proprietor of the tavern. He was forthcoming with Durlin's location and also with a bitter anger towards Mimir. His establishment is too small and unwelcoming. I hope he's a better musician than he is a barkeep. Ooh. You're welcome to share, Isaac.
I wish to hear of this mess.
The rig's in the bay. Why don't you ask the condescending skull?
Head, I've got skin. But he's right. I made a mistake. I'd have us shut them down.
Oh, yeah? In service of Asgard. Shut down the mining rigs. Alright, so how does your boy track his quests? The voice actor for Rabe is actually the composer for the game's soundtrack. That's cool. Objectives. Goals. There we go. Is on an island with a giant gantry running through it. The gantry may prove useful if we scout the island. Okay, so... Sweet. Let's go take that stuff down.
Sorry, one more thing. Although, these are gifts I'm giving to you, so I shouldn't be sorry and you should be thankful. Anyways, here, please be careful.
It's beautiful. Thanks, Sindri.
It is beautiful, isn't it? It's also very useful. You'll be able to find anything your heart desires with it.
Really?
As long as your heart desires the locations your father and you decide and plot to travel together, then yes.
Oh, that's cool.
It is a compass.
Ah, but a beautiful compass. Now scamper off.
Oh, it's so good. The Dwarven compass and map can guide Kratos to objectives. Press left to the side of the touchpad to open up the map. So good, man. So good. I love how literal he is. Use left to move around the map. Track locations of the compass by hovering over them and pressing triangle. Man. Area is huge. All right. I love that too, because it like adding that kind of thing in the game is neat, just in the sense that you now actually have an item that makes it so that we can track stuff. It's not just something. It's basically all this stuff is awesome because it builds immersion. It makes you feel less like you're playing a video game. It's like they have a tool that allows them to both want to do the same thing at the same time, and then it marks it. Like that's just, it's really good stuff.
Come. A boat cannot be far.
Huh. Earlier, Sindri made it sound like Durlin was some sort of rebellion leader. Doesn't sound like anyone's following him.
Was being the key word here, little brother.
I saw a dock back there. Maybe there's a boat we can use to get to Durlin's.
Maybe, but first, I'm gonna go rob these people. It's like, yeah, I'm just gonna go walk into this dwarven house and steal all their shit. Yeah, they don't need it. They left the door open. Why shouldn't I? They must have wanted me to take it. And smash their pottery! Oh my god, I'm such a dick. Okay. Knock it off. Knock it off, Kratos. I just want to look at everything. I want to simultaneously look at everything. What's up, chicken? The only organic being in all of the 9 realms that isn't afraid of me is this chicken. Cool. Oh, okay. Well, hey, look how convenient.
There's a building just past these rocks behind me. Maybe we should head that way.
It is cool. Again, just to point it out, I really like how much of a leadership role Atreus is taking. And I love that Kratos is not grunting in response. He's not shutting it down.
Mining rigs.
What about them?
The Skald is right to blame me for them. They were my idea. If you've got the time, they're in the bay just beyond this tunnel.
Oh, we've got the time.
I'd particularly appreciate us checking out the mining rigs in the lake to the right. You can see the smokestacks from here.
But if you don't want to explore now, it looks like Durlin's place is through that open gate to the left.
I will explore, boy.
So, which way do we go? We could prepare more before rescuing Tyr. Up to you.
That's a really interesting comment. For anybody who watched my Red Dead Redemption 2 playthrough, this is going to sound very familiar. When we talk about group dynamics, and particularly when we talk about leadership, there is what's called explicit leadership, and then there's implicit leadership. Explicit leadership are the people that are generally appointed to be leaders and are identified as the leaders. They're the people that supposedly run everything. And then there are the implicit leaders who are the people that actually run the group dynamic. Even though we might appoint other people in positions of power, there are certain people that generally move the needle and move the system. The dialogue between Atreus and Kratos there, where Atreus says, well, we could go left here or we could go right here. That's for you to decide. is an example of implicit leadership. He's acknowledging that Kratos is the explicit leader, but he says to Kratos, take your pick. Which, if we keep it without the gamer meta in it, means that Atreus is starting to build a sense of leadership in his sense of self. That he can give Kratos a choice about what to do. That he can say, well, if we need to gear up, that's okay. We can choose to do that. We could go right or left. What do you want to do, Dad? Take your pick. That is big time buku leadership there. And is indicative that Atreus is starting to build some degree of implicit leadership here, as also seen by his involvement in helping us solve stuff. And so I have to believe that there is a part of Kratos, despite being the explicit leader of the party, that is pleased to see that his son is taking on that role. And I think we see Kratos' pleasure and pride in that show up in him not saying anything at all and letting that happen. I think if Kratos was threatened by that, he would grunt or he would tell him to pipe down. I will make the decisions, boy. But he doesn't do that. He lets Atreus do it. So there's growth in both ends there. Very neat.
Mimir, are you really the one who had those rigs built?
Odin wanted the dwarves under his control, and, well, I convinced him he could buy their allegiance instead of demanding it outright. A trade agreement of sorts.
Also, just want to point out, look at the boat right now. Kratos' #1 most trusted consultant, Mimir, ahead with nobody. He is letting Atreus sit next to him and guard him. Kratos isn't guarding him. He has him next to Atreus. You want to talk about a ridiculous sign of trust? No longer is Mimir attached to Kratos' hip. He sits next to Atreus, untethered. That's a big deal, in my opinion. A real subtle sign. You think that Atreus is developing a sense of leadership in the context of his whole trip being Kratos going along with Atreus' search for Tyr? I think so. I think that lays
so
the
not all
context.
dwarves can do that thing Brock and Sindri do, right? Where they just walk between realms and turn up somewhere else?
Indeed, that's a rare skill. I gather one carefully cultivated by some secretive dwarven guild or other. Probably for the best. Them alone doing it is disconcerting enough.
I have always found that odd. Mimir sat by Atreus in 2018 too? Oh, okay. Well, cool. I think at the very least then, even if it's not novel, it's still a sign that he trusts Atreus with him. I didn't remember that. That bird is neat. All right, so going to these rigs.
Think that crane still works?
We're about to find out, my man.
One of the mining rigs is here.
See the smoke above us? That's where we're headed. Let's see if we can't shut it down.
If this is what all the side quests are like, we're gonna do all of them. Just so y'all know. I mean... Oh! Oh, yeah. Love that.
If the dwarves didn't like working for Asgard, couldn't they just quit?
And do what? Their newly built forges poisoned the soil of Svartalfheim. Unable to grow their own food, they had to buy it from Asgard. If they stopped working, they'd be taking food out of their own mouths.
Oh, that's clever. And awful.
Sounds familiar. Got to keep that capitalist machine going. Guess we go this way. Thank God the way is painted. Oh shit! Off of me.
Got him!
That is just so satisfying.
Whoa. An Yggdrasil seed to Muspelheim. Think it might lead to that combat arena we visited years ago?
What makes you say that?
Wishful thinking, I guess. Going through Surtur's gauntlet, it was fun.
It was training.
You didn't have fun?
Hmm.
Well, anyway, we should look for the other half of the seed. Once it's whole again, we can see where it leads.
You had fun, Kratos. You can acknowledge that you enjoyed yourself, buddy. I realized that it was burned into you that you were never allowed to have fun or enjoy things and that your entire existence is utilitarian, but you can acknowledge the fun. You can acknowledge that you enjoyed it. It's not going to end the world if you do that. The reason he doesn't is just learned. That's all it is. And I wouldn't want to I wouldn't shame Kratos for it. So much as it would just, you know, like him even grunting there is good enough. Like, we don't need more than that. We understand what that means. Get that on the way out.
Great, now we can make it across.
Dick. How could Kratos work to become more comfortable expressing some of his emotions if he chose to pursue that? He just has to actually do it. He would have to, if he wanted to do that, he would have to lean into the discomfort of doing it. He would have to challenge the narratives he has around doing it, realize that he learned not to be emotionally expressive rather than it being an innate character trait, or that it's even the best way to go. But he'd have to challenge a lot of narratives, and he'd have to actually practice the behavior, even when it's uncomfortable. Set realistic expectations for himself, that kind of thing. My first stream that's been at a time I can catch. Found your Dragon Age content on TikTok and binging your playthroughs. Thanks for the unique and awesome commentary you bring. It's my pleasure. Thank you for stopping by. It would be incredibly hard to do, yes. With Kratos living as long as he has with these ingrained patterns, it would be hard. He could do it, though. Hell, he could learn from his son, because his son's pretty good at it. Yeah, I will. I'll actually comment more on the emotional thing here in a minute.
They just keep coming.
It's a bear trap, spawning a little wretches like there's no tomorrow.
For her, it will be so!
On your right! Right flank!
Come here, bud.
On your right.
Ew.
The rig's likely chock-a-block with materials that could help us. I'd grab whatever it spits up in the process.
Whew. Bouquet, thank you very much for the Prime sub, and Predator, thank you for the Prime sub. So, to talk a little bit about Kratos' emotions for a second, if he was to become more emotionally available, like, what would that actually take? So, a lot of us mistakenly think that just because we want to do something, we should just magically be good at it. That we think that maybe, like, Kratos should just... all he has to do is want to be emotionally available, and he will be. It's not really how it works. You have to put the work in. Kratos has just an unbelievable amount of years of engaging in stoicism and not making his emotional experience known. He's probably, in some ways, out of touch with it most of the time. And the times that he is in touch with it, he masks it with anger or he stuffs it down, because that's what he always had to do. So if Kratos decided, I want to be more emotionally expressive and available, he has to practice. And it means that he's going to be uncomfortable, because when we learn skills, we have to experience anxiety and frustration. Nobody is excellent at a thing immediately, and that includes expression of something. So all of us have to be ready to do work when we set a goal for a new skill. You don't get to just have a skill because you want it. And the thing that makes all of our experiences around that subjective is that all of us have different hurdles we have to jump over in order to be able to achieve that thing. Some people have more hurdles. Some people have one higher hurdle. That's the nuance that comes into the human experience that makes everybody's experience unique, where somebody like a therapist can really work with you to develop a treatment plan that's specific to you. But you are going to have to put work in. And the people that struggle the most with these types of things are people who either give up too early or think that they're not supposed to have to do a bunch of work as it relates to it. They think it's just supposed to happen because they decided they wanted it. You don't get to have things just because you want them. You've got to work at them. And it pays off because it gets easier over time when you put the work in, because you start to build the skill. And the more you build a skill, the easier it is to employ that skill. So that's what he would have to be prepared for. Skog, thanks for gifting that sub. And Pizza, thank you for the bits. All right, let's see. I just want to check this out first, just to see if there's anything else cool here. Oh. Yeah! Holy shit.
If the dwarves agreed to the deal with Asgard, why do they blame you?
I talked them into their own exploitation.
They made their choice.
Work or die is not a choice. I only made it seem so. What you just picked up there is pure...
That's huge for Mimir. What we just saw from Kratos and Atreus is a degree of victim blaming. These are people, these dwarves were jammed. into their situation. They were presented with what appeared to be a choice, but it was not a choice. And that is really the hallmark of abusive power, is to make people think they have a choice when they don't. Or to make it very obvious they don't have a choice, but veil it as if they do. I actually give Mimir a ton of credit for basically pushing against Kratos and Atreus on this and saying, nope, I facilitated that. I created an untenable situation for the dwarves. That's on me. That's what real accountability looks like. Because Mimir could hide behind the idea that the dwarves agreed to it and that was their choice. On a very, very, like, abstract, true level, it is true that the dwarves made a choice. It is true. They did make a choice. They could have revolted. They could have said no, and they would have dealt with the consequences. There is always the choice. But one choice is infinitely more obvious and survivable than the others. And that was very clear. And so Mimir taking acknowledgement of that and not hiding behind that sliver of choice that the dwarves had is commendable on his part. That's how you make amends if you ever are going to have an opportunity to make amends, is to acknowledge the impact you had on the people that you had the impact on. So big round of applause here from Mimir. Not that he deserves like accolades and gold stars, because ultimately he did a shitty thing. I'm not trying to wipe away that he did some shitty stuff just because he apologized for it and acknowledged it. But that's a big deal that he's willing to acknowledge it. I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that question, Sam.
It won't be of use in the rig anymore, but perhaps our Huldra brothers could craft something from it.
Death or subjugation isn't much of a choice. Correct. It is a choice. And there are people that'll be abusive and awful about the idea that that's a choice and make it sound like it's the dwarves' fault that they made that choice. But we do have to acknowledge that, like, it's a ridiculous choice to make. Yeah. Craig, thank you for gifting that sub. I appreciate it. Oh, thank you for giving me that chain.
Is it always moral to kill something that's trying to kill you?
Yes.
Well, there you have it, lad.
Oh my god. Oh, I love that. I mean, it's very, very true to Kratos. I mean, that is pretty much how he lives his life. I mean, he's very black and white and simplistic in the way that he views things. I'm sure that Mimir is like, just like, I'm not even going to try to touch that one with Kratos. I'm not even going to try to touch that. Oh my god. It's so funny. Oh man. But let's go one extra level deep on this, just for funsies. Just for funsies. What that means is that Kratos can empathize with the people that he's trying to kill. And I think that that's actually why Kratos is hesitant to go on the attack now. With Odin, with Freya, with anybody else. Because if Kratos actually believes that you are morally justified in trying to kill who attempts to kill you, then he would believe that every single person he has ever attempted to kill is morally justified in attempting to kill him back. I mean, that's like some next level empathy and understanding of the nuance of all of this. So despite its simplistic nature up front, that code of morality for Kratos has real implications on his level of empathy for the people that he attempts to attack, which I think is probably contributing to why he's so thoughtful about who he's going after now, and why he's so hesitant when Atreus says, let's go get Odin, let's go take the fight to him, let's go kill these things. I don't know that Atreus has built up a full, deep understanding of morality, I think is evidenced by the fact that he's asking his father about morality systems. So he's got to learn that on his own and kind of develop those values. And so asking Kratos about that is cool, but it gives us a lot of insight, I think, into the way that Kratos views his presence in the world at this point. He is beginning to acknowledge more and more and more the impact that he has on the environment around him, even as evidenced by the way that he had empathy for the dwarves in the town running away from them. It's really good stuff. He's not a cold-hearted, stoic killer anymore. He's a thoughtful, reflective dude who just doesn't really have sophisticated tools to be able to do it in as sophisticated and meaningful as a way as we might like.
I had them built to harvest ore for armaments, essentially harnessing resources that would otherwise go to the dwarves.
You think shutting these things down will help the dwarves become independent?
I don't know, but I have to try something.
Kratos also doesn't know himself very well, because if he truly believed that, he would have killed Freya at the beginning and the start of the game. Well, so that's the thing, is like, I think he just doesn't fully grasp or consider the true nuance of the answer to that question, which is why Mimir had that snarky comment. Because, yeah, Freya's trying to kill him, but he understands why Freya's trying to kill him. And he empathizes with that. So there's a lot of levels to it. It's why Mimir has that quip when Kratos says yes. Because he knows that that's bullshit. He knows that there's more gray area to this than Kratos is going to acknowledge.
Hey, it's another one of those geysers, but huge. Maybe we could check it out later.
We can see it fine from here.
Mimir, how many stories have you told about Odin and Thor? And all the bad things they've done? Let's see how many we can remember. Seems like Father could use his memory refreshed.
My memory of them requires no refreshment. They invaded our home.
Yeah, but I'm talking about history. All the other people they've hurt. Let's see. Okay, there was Thalmor, the stonemason.
Aye, he quarreled with his son, went into the night to find him, found Thor instead.
And there was Thalmor's son, Hrimthur.
Who built the walls of Asgard, and whispered something of importance to Freya before his betrayal and assassination.
There was Groa, of course.
The knowledge keeper and prophet of Ragnarok. Thor murdered her husband, and Odin covered it up before doing her in himself.
We can't forget Ymir, the first giant.
Odin carved him up to form the realms from his body, and let the torrent of his blood nearly drown every giant alive.
What about the giants of Jotunheim? They all seemed dead when we finally made it there.
That remains a mystery. Though admittedly, it sounds like the Aesir god's dream.
What about Fjorgyn? Thor's mother was a giant, wasn't she?
Indeed she was. The circumstances of her demise were murky at best, but not sure I can blame Odin for that one. He wasn't the same after.
Oh, I know. There was Skavi, the queen of the hunt.
Aye, she spurned Odin's affections, so he tricked her into killing her father.
There was Starkather the Mighty, the Jotnar military leader.
Slandered by Odin, tricked and murdered by Thor.
And there was Thrym the Cunning, the giant king who stole Thor's hammer.
Odin traded him Freyr to get it back, then sent Thor in disguise to murder his entire court.
Who else? Ah, Hrungnir the Brawler, the stone giant.
Aye, mocked by Odin, murdered by Thor.
Enough of this.
But there's more.
I do not care. War with Odin is not the answer.
Maybe not, but this is an opportunity, I think, for Kratos to engage a little bit more with his son, get to know what he's trying to figure out. I think Kratos is missing the boat, no pun intended, a little bit by just shutting everything, like shutting it down.
Ymir, what do you think it means? Seeing more raiders come back as Hellwalkers lately. I thought freeing the Valkyrie Queen was supposed to restore balance to the realms. and keep that from happening?
That's a good question, lad. And a troubling one. If hell's filled up again, it suggests that something's been hindering Sigrun's efforts. Or perhaps something even more urgent is keeping her distracted and unable to visit, even occasionally.
Yeah. Sorry, Mimir.
I continue to go back to, in my mind when I think about this, that I think Kratos is averse to Atreus learning more about him. Because Odin has killed a lot of people, and Atreus is seeing that as being justification for going after him, and that he's a bad person. Well, what does that mean when he finds out that Kratos has been a war machine his entire life? Not that Atreus would be like, okay, you need to die, Dad, but in what I love is the juxtaposition of how utterly complex the things that Kratos has to juggle are, and he tries to do it as simply as he can. He tries to just kind of shut it down. There's so much there that Atreus is going to learn by digging through history, and Kratos would do well to try to get out ahead of it rather than wait for it to happen, because Atreus is going to get this information no matter what. He showed that when he went to go look at all the giant paintings behind Kratos' back. Kratos has got to make a shift here and get a little bit more on board with, all right, dude, here's part of my hesitation for why I don't want to learn about this. Not that he has to disclose everything, but instead of just being like, no, fighting Odin's not the answer, you got to add some sophistication to this, dude, because Atreus is adding it, and he's doing it fast. I have no idea, Tiggity. I'd have to see him respond. I think he'd probably understand it, but still say no. But that's just a guess.
Those mining rigs sure spit out a lot of smoke.
They sure do.
There's another mining rig on this island, brother. Smell that smoke?
Why would the dwarves agree to work for the Aesir in the first place?
That's the heart of it, eh?
You lied to them.
I lied to them.
Yeah, and you don't like that, do you, Kratos?
One less feathery spy.
The Eyes of Odin. Oh, I forgot about those. Odin's ravens. Odin had his eyes on us since we began our journey some time ago. Killing these ravens and blinding the Allfather will only aid us in our path.
Swing across that, lift thing. Gantry. Thanks.
Gantry. I wonder if that's the way that we just return back to the beginning.
Not quite right.
Not quite right indeed. Pull this back up.
It's gotta be the right spot.
Those barrels. I smell fuel. Bet a spark from your blades would cause quite a boom.
Spark for my blades? What? That's what I'm doing. Oh, there we go. Okay. Uh-oh. Kill these before they have an opportunity to come back to life and kill me.
I think we could break through the ground here, if you found a high enough place to drop from.
Oh, thanks, Atreus. Good call. Maybe I'll just climb up right here and do just that, huh? Cool ass door. Boom.
Surprised the dwarves didn't shut these rigs off themselves.
One or two tried. The Einherjar made examples of them.
They killed the dwarves? Couldn't you have convinced them not to?
Aye.
Oh, but he did not. Got a little bit of that guilt narrative going on, eh, Mimir? Even the smartest man in the world. Can be taken advantage of. And that's probably what he's struggling the most with, is that, like, he got talked into doing some shady shit. He knows it's shady. Accountability is refreshing, I agree. And, like, let that be a lesson to all of us. Mimir owning up to his mistakes and owning up to the bad shit that he did is endearing. It invites us in. It gives us an opportunity to ask questions, be curious, and potentially empathize. And this is something that so many of us don't understand or miss the mark on. So many people try to save face because they're worried that if they take accountability and people know the bad shit that they did or whatever, that they're going to bail on them and leave them behind, and that they're going to be alone and that they're going to be ridiculed and judged. Oftentimes, if you just take a second and be accountable for what it is that you did and acknowledge the impact that you had, recognize the context, think through how you might do things differently going forward, it will generally invite people's curiosity and bring them in. Some people might set boundaries with you. Some people might say, hey, Mimir, can't ride with you anymore, homie, because you did this. I don't care if you take accountability for it. The impact was too great. And that's their right. But there are going to be people that are going to be more willing to respect you because you're taking ownership of something that everybody literally knows that you did. There's really nothing worse than when everybody knows that you're at fault for something and you won't take accountability for it, because that's going to push people away. You're not going to save face in the way that you think you are. And that's why I respect so much that Mimir is willing to just acknowledge these things head on and acknowledge the facts of the impact of what he had. And he will slowly start to tell us about some of the decision-making process that went into that, and that's cool. We'll be much more open to it when we see that he takes accountability rather than tries to save face. And the way he responds to Atreus, what kind of perspective do you think Mimir would have on Kratos wanting his past to not be dug up by Atreus? I think he probably understands why Kratos wouldn't want it. Like, I think he could probably be like, yeah, I get it. And also, like, the kid's going to learn some of it eventually, so you should probably take some ownership of it and talk to him about it. That would be my guess. Is there any way to break through to people who are in that saving face mode? Depends on the person and the context. I don't know that there's, like, a general sweeping way of doing it.
Huh. Impressive.
The Squasher. Killin, Squasher of Wretches, killed a nest of 20 here. A legend or boast, I wonder. I wish this Killin was around to enlighten us with her strategies. Me too, man. Me too. Gotta lower this damn wheel. So that... Oh, here we go.
That should help.
Yeah, but now I gotta go back up. Lower that down. Drop through. Swing across. Grab the chest. Good stuff. All right. Then... Doesn't do me any good that high up. There we go. Is it possible that some of those people have legitimately deluded themselves into thinking they weren't at fault? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And that's, at that point, it's on you to decide what you want to do with that. What boundaries do you want to set? How much do you want to limit your engagement? Okay, so now... Let's think. I gotta get up there. Which means... Huh. Can I throw this up farther? No. No! Oh, I can only go down then, huh? Okay. Ellie, if they argue again, just ban. Oh, I can go up this way. Okay, now I got it. Now I got it. We take that down a notch. Okay. We go down here, we lift the elevator back up, and then we climb the other way. Just deal with it, Predator. I'll ask if I want to help. Kick that bad boy down there. Hey.
Wasn't so hard.
No, not at all. Ooh, and there's an area to climb up there. Wait, wait, wait. Nope. Hold on, Atreus. Hold on, Atreus. How? Usually I can like hook into those up there. This is interesting. Yeah, so I jumped down into there. Ah! That's gonna bother me, cause like that right there. Ugh. But it was like almost like I need to like hit it from a certain angle. Go. Alright, we're gonna climb. We're gonna cross. Oh, okay, so we jump straight up there. Shit.
Reinforce up high! Knock him down!
Oh, I thought I broke his. I thought I parried that. Oh, that was cool. Alright, is there one up top? Oh yeah, there he is. Oh, come here. There we go. Oh, there's a platform up there. Okay, wait a second. Wait a second. We go down here. And then how do we get up? Because we're gonna need to swing across from up there. So how do I get up there? Because there's no... Unless... Oh, look at that. There we go. There we go. Across there. Kick this bad boy down. Alright, and then we raise it up all the way. Clever. And up. And over. And Atreus let good old dad figure this one out. Good for him. Yeah! Woo! Hell yeah. Let's go.
Nice.
Yeah, dude, it is nice. Your dad's a badass. Don't you ever forget it. Nord's Tempest, light runic attack, rapidly spinning melee attack that clears out surrounding enemies and deals significant damage. Let's take a gander. Ooh, I like that. Ooh, and I can spend XP. Alright, deal with all that later. There we go. Forget that random scroll. Passion. It's incredible what they take from you. I used to love mining, reaching into the hardened earth and pulling out its fruits. Filth under my nails, the stains of the realm's blood smeared on my clothes. I'd take my bounty home and hammer it into something beautiful, something that was mine. Now I do it for you, for the Aesir. Now I do it because you'll beat me if I don't. The beatings I can handle, flesh heals. But you took my passion. Every day I wake up and I dread doing the very thing that once gave me purpose. So that's it for me. I'm going to fill a pack with my greatest works of metallurgy, and I'm going to walk into that God's forsaken bay. Whatever awaits me in Helheim can't be worse than doing this every day. You can consider this my resignation. Wow. That is, that's some heavy shit, man. That was definitely a suicide note, yes. Alright, let's get rid of this thing.
Atreus, we're getting better. Faster.
I'd even be better than you one day, huh?
If you are not, I have failed.
You okay, Mimir?
To the blacksmiths of Svartalfheim, the creation of a weapon was a sacred thing. But Odin just wanted as many blades as he could get, as fast as he could get them. With every stolen resource and mediocre blade, the dwarves lost a bit of themselves.
Most parents will tell you that they would like it if their kids had it better off than them. Kratos is no different. So that's cool. But that, I mean, again, it makes sense, right? From everything we've talked about. Kratos very clearly wants Atreus to be self-sufficient, powerful, think through things. And so that's why we're seeing him lay off.
Because of you.
Ah, you're not wrong there, brother. Odin would have wiped out every last dwarf in Svartalfheim. If he couldn't use their skills, no one could.
And there's the justification. And the layers of nuance. At what cost, though, right? Their passion is stripped. Yeah, so they survived, but did they have purpose? Did they have passion? Like, that suicide note that we read directly is I'm juxtaposed against the reality that what Mimir did gave them survivability. Really just speaks to how deep this gets. How fun is it to be alive if while you're alive, you're freaking miserable 24/7 and your passion has been stripped? Like, where is the threshold at which point survival no longer is actually the ideal? And that suicide note was one person making the decision that the thing they were once passionate about was stripped. They didn't care that they were given the opportunity to survive. The survival was awful. That death was a sweeter release from the corporate overlords, jeez, than working for the man every day and being miserable, not having any purpose. sense of direction. Life is more nuanced than survival good, death bad. Not advocating for suicide, but it can be understandable.
What is it, Mimir?
That's nothing, brother. Just, you ever have those moments where you wish you could go back, rewrite your own past, make different decisions?
Journeying through time is more trouble than it is worth.
Ah, fair point. You're speaking metaphorically, right?
No.
Of course you're not.
I think we all have that. It's okay to consider your past and consider the things that you would have done differently. But the thing that's always important to realize is that the only reason that you are thinking now that you wish you could have done something differently is because you were around to see the consequence of the decision you made. You have more information now than you had at the time that you made the decision you made. And so many of us unfairly beat ourselves up for that. Because the reality is, when people make decisions, they generally make the best decision they can with the information they have in that moment. Looking back to the past and trying to use hindsight to judge yourself is a fruitless endeavor, because all you're going to do is make yourself feel like shit. When you reflect on the past, you should reflect on why you made the decisions you made, and if it came from a limited amount of information, ask yourself where you can get better information. Use the consequences of the decisions you made to make better decisions now and in the future. There are certainly things that all of us regret, but we only regret them because we lived long enough to see the consequence of that decision, which means it is always an unfair proposition to consider going back and changing the past. You'll never be able to do it. You will never be able to change the past. You can only influence the future through how you navigate the present.
Huh. There's such a big bay. There's no fish. Must be because of the smoke from those mining rigs.
I don't know about the smoke, but pollution would certainly make sense. What's this over here? I mean, honestly, Atreus, this lake is so polluted with barrels and shit. Ooh. I don't think I can chuck my axe from the boat, can I? No, I can't.
Amir, what's the deal with Odin's ravens? They can just transport him anywhere?
Except for the realm between realms, thankfully.
Why?
Harder to find, thanks to dwarven enchantments and Yggdrasil's very own nature.
Lucky us.
That other smokestack's over there. This must be just get some cool stuff kind of area, which I'm totally okay with. Yep, it is. Neat.
You may need some special equipment to use this.
Oh, you telling me I can't do this right now? Oh. Oh. Oh my God. Got it. Oh man. Oh, but I gotta get in a position, I think, where I do like all three at once. So this is probably not gonna be possible because I gotta hit that one. And I don't know. Oh yeah, there. Oh yeah, maybe I can. Okay, so. Gotta be maybe a way to turn that crane. Oh, Atreus. There we go. Okay. So we gotta go R. Oh, we gotta go this one, that one. Okay. Oh, no. Oh! I get it? Oh! Yeah! Got it. An apple. One of two. Alright, good shit. What is this? Alright, that was cool. I like those. As painful as they can be sometimes to do. So,
Amir, a little while ago you mentioned Odin's ravens. What's to stop him from using them to pop into existence and kidnap anybody he wants?
Consent. The only way to travel by Odin's ravens is by your own choice.
Oh, it's not so bad then.
gotta love consent. Alright, let's go get that third smokestack. Maybe. A lot of stuff to go look at. What have we here? I did play 2018, but I played it off stream, and I have no intention of playing it on stream. But I did do a little bit of a recap at the beginning of episode 1, which you can find on YouTube if you want to watch the VOD. What is this?
Yeah, I don't think we can do anything with that yet.
Well, damn.
Father, I wanted to ask you something about your blade. The ones from your homeland.
What of them?
Why don't you just throw them away? I see the way you look at them sometimes. Like you're... I don't know. Like you hate them.
Even hateful things have their uses. Besides, I tried. They came back.
Wow. So I think another reason to look at, like, like another way to look at Atreus's questions of his father is because in asking questions about his father, he also gets to learn things about himself. So maybe there's something that Atreus has to hold on to that he doesn't want to hold on to, but he looks at his father looking at his glaives or whatever they're called and says, well, that's weird. My dad holds on to it, even though he looks like he doesn't want them. So why would a person do that? It's very teenager. That's what teenagers do. They ask a lot of questions if you let them. There's a newfound sense of curiosity. There's a way, like the only way to learn more about the world and to learn more about yourself is to ask questions and make observations of the environment and how people respond. So maybe there's something going on for Atreus. Maybe it's just curiosity about his father, but maybe it has something to do with himself. Teenagers tend to be a bit more egocentric with their curiosity. Actually, one way that you can learn a lot more about how teenagers feel about themselves and what their worries are is by listening to the questions they ask, because usually teenagers ask questions that are related to their own needs and their own self-discovery more so than they are about curiosity of others. Not always, but it's usually a good window into getting some information about teenagers if you just listen to the questions they ask. Or like, why would he ask about that? Perhaps he's had a similar experience. Perhaps he's struggling with something like that. Teenagers 101. What's this?
Father, look. We can chisel through this door.
Oh, glad to see that still works.
Me too. I get a cool chest because of it.
Nice. Nice.
Hell yeah. There's more. There's something up there, Atreus. Daddy needs to get up there. Daddy's greedy.
Father, what was Spartan training like?
Unforgiving.
Is that why you didn't train me like one? Did you not think I could handle it?
I did not think you should have had to.
Thanks.
More inductive reasoning. It's the theme of the day, right? Did you not train me that way because you didn't think I could, like, you didn't think I could handle it? Nah, it has nothing to do with that, man. It's great. I love that Kratos is willing to answer that question the way that he did.
Look, another mining rig.
Another mining rig indeed. We got to figure out a way to get up there. And I think this might be it. Oh, what's up, Sindri?
Taking a break before visiting Durlin? Very wise. He can be a lot. Whatever you need.
Ooh. That's cool. Not gonna wear it. That looks badass. It's very, okay, vitality focused, which I'm not particularly interested in. Oh my god, the belt is awesome. I want the belt of might.
A good fit.
I'll take them.
Oh, it's cool that they buy these
These will look
poems.
fantastic in my storage chest.
Nice. Special items.
I'll disinfect my tools.
A lot of rawhide here. Strength.
Take care of your armor, and it'll take care of you.
Yeah, it will.
Smell the smoke? There's another mining rig here.
You speak of your deeds with shame. Do you regret not allowing Odin to kill them?
I don't... No.
That's some good attunement. Mimir's not really one that's usually a loss for words. It's kind of interesting he didn't answer that. Kratos gets it, man. You think the choices Kratos made and how he trained Atreus were specifically to encourage his development away from what Kratos became? Potentially. I also think it's probably partly empathic to himself, basically saying, like, that sucked for me, and I don't want that for my son. I think we can appreciate that. The Watchtower.
Bloody Grogger holes. We've got to clear out all these undead bastards.
Oh, shit. Okay.
You're on fire, Kratos. It will pass.
Behind!
Oh, shit. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I am charred.
Won't be getting any more from those Grogger.
Oof. The hateful. I've never encountered a Draugr like this one before. It fights as if fueled by an infinite hate. It emerged from a scar in the earth that closed once we defeated the monster. If we encounter more of these holes, we must close them and put down any creatures that emerge. Yeah. First, Empress handles. Handles once belonging to an Empress who sought to challenge the gods. Forged in the fires of vengeance, they continue to seek death. Ooh, I got a cat spark. Man, we got a lot of cool shit here. No wonder Sindri set up camp here.
No, it's still here.
What?
The island near the geyser. We need to get the key from it and unlock this door. I need to set right a very old wrong.
Well, we will.
What's behind the door?
A prisoner. Of sorts.
Oh, god damn it. I could have just... Alright, whatever. So the key is on the island by the geyser. Maybe we'll take out the smokestack first before we go over there.
Is that pure Svartalfheim slag? Give it here. I'm here for you.
Oh, shield. We'll go ahead and upgrade
That'll
that.
hurt him.
And Blades of Chaos. First Empress handles. Here we go. Strength and luck. Those are pretty nice. Oops, I didn't. Oops, I just upgraded them instead of just equipping them. That was an interesting decision, but whatever.
By the way, if you're headed to the mining rigs in the bay, could you bring me any slag you find? I could use the material for my crafting.
Yep, you got it, boss.
Wow, there's a lot to explore here. Kinda nice to be out of Midgard for a bit, huh?
There's definitely a lot to explore. Got that right. I'm into it. Alright, another rig. What's up? See ya.
Behind you! Look out!
Nightmare!
Oh, that was badass.
Impressive! Behind you! Watch out!
Oh, shit. Ah! These things are gross. Ooh, I love that I can chuck it at the other enemies, though. Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's a big rock. I'll throw it. Yeah. All right, so let's see what we got here. So we got one here. I think I have to light these. Yeah. Okay. That one's lit. And that one's lit. And where's the last one? Where are you at? Nope, down there. Interesting. Boom. Easy peasy. Morning blood me. I'll take it. Let's mess this thing up.
It is done.
If you could call so meager a task done. A wee drop out of the Asgardian occupational...
You must live with your deeds, but do not be troubled by them, brother.
Oh? And why not?
You were given an impossible problem. Do not blame yourself for failing to solve it.
I'm sure the dwarves would feel differently. This doesn't fix things.
No, but it is a start.
A reminder, brother. That Svartalfheim slag we collected could be of considerable use in the hands of Brock or Sindri.
Look at that empathy. Woo! I'm getting to a point where I'm starting to be I'm stopping my surprise on Kratos' empathy. Like at this point, Kratos is showing himself to be a very thoughtful and reflective person. And I love the nuance in what he says to him there. Like you have to live with what you did, but it doesn't mean that you have to continue to beat yourself up for it. Beating yourself up for it isn't going to do anything for anybody. So start your atonement through deeds, and that's what we're doing. It's a start. That's the other thing. Feeling sorry for yourself doesn't really invite victims of your actions to feel sorry for you. You're not the victim when your impact on people was to ruin their lives. So Mimir is going to have to sit with how unsettled he is by that, and also recognize that he is doing the right thing by working hard to atone for this. And I think that's commendable. I really do. Now, there's a key on the island by the geyser, so I want to go check that out.
It's because we shut down the rigs.
Indeed, Atreus.
Look, the fish are coming back.
Enough. We will continue later.
The key to that watchtower door should be on this island somewhere.
Look at all this gold. Oh god. All right, so we got to figure out a way to open this door.
Right, to the left.
They keep coming out of that net.
Yeah. Screw your nest. Good are these gates if you can just like walk right around them. By the way, for those who didn't know, Nathan Drake is a long multi-generational descendant of Kratos. So is Ezio.
Left foot!
Behind you!
The ground looks weak down here, Father.
Sure does.
That gear. Looks like it would freeze.
Yeah, you think? Yeah. Thank you, Atreus. I appreciate your thoughtfulness while we do our tasks.
Maybe that lift can help us get higher. Might be easier to break that ground from up there.
Maybe. My boy is smart. Such a smart boy. I'm so proud. I'm a proud Spartan father.
Think you could break through the ground from up there?
I'd say so. Oh God. Ah, come on, I get X.
Behind you! Look out!
Oh, shit. Direct shot. Yeah, yeah.
Mimir, is this it? Over here?
Dante, that counts as a spoiler. You've been warned.
That's the key we're looking for. Now we must head to that watchtower on the shore.
Yeah. I'm ready.
What are you not saying?
The mining rigs are not the only sin I committed in Svartalfheim.
Ooh, I kind of want to know what that dwarf's got on him. Oh, he might have been. I mean, it's hard for me to know, right? Like, hard to know. So, all good. Since I don't know where all of this ends up, just be careful. I appreciate it. Oh, all that for 35 hack silver. Okay. Wait, where'd the boat go? Okay. Let's go see what's in the tower.
Father, I know I look like you.
In what way?
Like, bigger. When do I get muscles like yours?
When you work for them.
But Baldur was really strong, and he didn't have any muscles.
My strength does not come from my body, but both are honed by discipline.
What's that mean?
Means you've got the strength of a god no matter what, lad. But if you want the physique of one, you'd better start picking heavy things up and putting them back down.
I love Kratos' discipline about going to the gym. That's amazing. I love it. You don't get it just because you want it, bud. What do you think daddy is at 6 a.m., huh? Huh? Why do you think we got so much creatine powder in the old cupboard, huh? Huh? What do you think your old dad does while you sleep till noon on weekends, huh?
Can you hear that?
No.
Thought I heard a voice.
Let's keep going, lad. Just put the key into that lock, brother.
Okay. What a cool lock.
There. If you could give that drum a good loud strike.
Oh boy. Last time we had something that we had to hit, there was a big giant ass snake in the water. Mimir, I would appreciate you telling me what's going to happen when I do this. Oh boy. What a great drum noise.
What? So that's the voice I heard.
What?
We'll need to free it from its restraints.
Guess what we're doing when we get to part 4? That. YouTube, thank you so much for taking the time to hang out. I appreciate so much that you support these playthroughs. Make sure you leave a like on the way out. Leave a comment if you feel so inclined. And make sure that you follow me on all the other socials down in the description. Would love to see you on Twitch sometime. Your support of my stream means so much to me. I hope that you enjoyed this as much as I did. This game is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Loving it so much. So, have a wonderful rest of your day. If you're binging the series and you're going straight to part 4 because you just can't handle the idea of not knowing what the hell that is, I don't blame you. If you're waiting for the next episode to come out, we'll get it out as soon as we can. Thank you so much. Catch you on the next one.